Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, I'm going to discuss the massive riots that have been happening over the last few days in England. Now, I'm pretty sure most Americans haven't heard of what's going on, although a lot of the videos have made it onto Reddit. Basically, there was a tragedy in a city in England. I think it was Rotherham, or Southport, where three kids were unfortunately their lives were ended. And basically, it took a long time for any information about the assailant, the person who did it, to come out. And in that time, a lot of rumors were spread online. And those rumors basically said that the person who did it was an asylum seeker. You know, he potentially did it in the name of a certain religion, that kind of thing. And a lot of people seized on that information, that misinformation, and riots have basically been happening like every day, every night as a result of it. Like, it's been really bad. You know, several police officers have been sent to hospital. You know, there's been, like, it's almost kind of descended a little bit into like a bit of race as well, unfortunately. Like, I've seen videos where, people of color will get ganged up on by mainly white people. It's just sad because I feel like, because the person who did it wasn't even what was reported online. It was just, quickly seized on. And unfortunately, certain politicians like Nigel Farage, he's a well-known politician here in the UK, pushed the narrative, and obviously his supporters have seized onto that, and it's just riled them up. It's a messy situation. I do think a discussion needs to happen, to be honest, about integration when it comes to immigration in this country. Integration isn't as good as it should be. I do feel like if certain communities got more involved, it wouldn't be as it is now. But yeah, let's watch some of these clips.
Another day, another battle between rioters and the police. The front line this time, a hotel housing migrants in Rotherham in the north of England. The far-right protest, advertised as peaceful, quickly descending into violence. Police taking the brunt of it, trying to protect those trapped inside. But there's no sign of letting up here or in other parts of England. In Middlesbrough, in the northeast, police struggling to hold back more rioters. As disorder spreads, sparked by false rumours online that a suspect in the murder of 3 young girls in Southport a week ago was a Muslim immigrant. The British Prime Minister warning instigators they will be punished.
I feel like if the government came out and said it wasn't, it might have quelled this before it happened.
I guarantee you will regret taking part in this disorder, whether directly or those whipping up this action online and then running away themselves. This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
Overnight, the city of Liverpool saw some of the worst violence, youths torching their own neighbourhood. The damage clear in the light of day.
Well, the smell of smoke here is overwhelming. This space was refurbished only 18 months ago. It's got children's classes, it's a community hub and a library. It hosts adult IT classes, which people here say the community desperately needs. There are welfare officers here as well that come and help people with their forms. All of that gone in one night of violence.
The answer as to why this happened isn't simple.
I think it was a mix of things. Obviously, there was a large amount of far-right manipulation on social media. There was also an element of disaffection from other people getting involved. But there's no excuse for the type of criminality and seeking to try and damage and ultimately destroy a community facility.
I think a lot of it is just people wanting to let out frustration and anger as well. they heard that these riots were happening and they just wanted to get in on it,
We're not going to let that small minority divide us. We're not going to let that small minority win. That's why we're going to bring this facility back into use, and equally as well, we're going to look at how we support the wider community to build back from yesterday's unacceptable events.
This Romanian shop was a target of looting. Workers left to pick up the pieces. After days of violence, communities can only hope it all ends soon. Milena Veselinovic, Al Jazeera, Liverpool.
Wow.
Wave after wave. As violence descended. Scenes across the country now at risk of becoming normalised.
It's crazy.
Among the worst, Liverpool, parts of it set on fire, including a library. The morning after, and the city still smoulders.
Disgusting.
It's a reason for violence. It's certainly not in my name. Nazis burn books. These have gone one step further and burnt a library down.
Protests, yeah, but
people feel poorer. People just feel like they're being hard done by. And they're using this as a mechanism to lash out, I think. A lot of people feel marginalised.
not actually going around damaging things, that's not going to work. It's just going to get you in a lot of trouble.
You can't use, riots as a way
Disorders
to...
swept across the UK in the wake of the Southport knife attacks, catalysed by disinformation online.
There's a differential between what happened on Tuesday in Southport and what happened here. Definitely on Tuesday there were people bussed in from all over the country because we know that, because we see the travel patterns. This was more about local youths being stirred up by social media, by that communication of everybody, let's get together and all that.
In Bristol, counter-protesters outnumbered far-right groups with tension spilling into violence.
Like, some of the videos are way worse that I want to show them, but, I'll get a community guidelines strike. There's a lot of videos of big fights. If you just go on Google and type it in, you'll find them. But it's just sad what's going on.
As volunteers cleaned up, Shabam, a refugee living here since 2000, described his fear.
We always got the fear constantly in the back of our head of, are we going to get attacked? Are we welcome here? Should we be hanging out in this park? Should we be going to this neighbourhood? So, we really need, a bit more police presence.
It doesn't matter where you've come from, you are welcome here. But the thing that warms my heart is seeing all the people who came out to stop that racist thuggery happen and stood in the way.
But the risk is more of the same.
What the new Labour government does not need right now are more weeks of this, a summer of discontent reminiscent of the 2011 riots. Their plan right now is to disincentivise troublemakers.
And that includes more prosecutors, enough prison places and the possibility of overnight courts.
The Prime Minister was the Director of Public Prosecutions in 2011 when we had similar issues, and the courts at that stage did sit through the night. So I think the Prime Minister is very well versed, alongside the Lord Chancellor, in making sure that we have available what's needed.
The idea to take rioters off the streets as quickly as possible as communities struggle with the continuing fallout. Adele Robinson, Sky News.
It's a messy situation. I think short term, what you need to do to stop these riots is, quickly identify as many of them as you can, quickly prosecute and sentence. But long term, we do need to address the root cause of a lot of this issue. If people, you're not going to find... I would bet the vast majority of the people involved in these riots are poor. They're poor, suffering, and, they just haven't got much going in their lives. You're not going to find surgeons. I just don't think you're going to find successful businessmen, on these riots. These are marginalized people who are using mass immigration as a sort of pincushion, as a way for them to basically let out their frustration of their lot in life. I'm not excusing their behavior at all, because what we're seeing really is just pure thuggery, especially if you go on Reddit and go on, like, you know, Google and find some of these videos. It's just disgusting, and I've got very little sympathy for those that are involved in the brawls. But we need to address the massive wealth inequality in this country. You know, if people didn't feel so marginalized, they wouldn't be incentivized to attend things like this, especially now that they know that the person who those 3 young girls wasn't even, you know, who they think he was. You know, so that the very reason why they're claiming that they're on these riots isn't even true. It's just it's a mess. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.